Now that you've gotten an overview of what this map shows and where the data on it came from, let's talk about the first step for getting the data onto the map. So specifically, what I want to do is pull this data out of the spreadsheet that I've given you and use it to produce a map with a marker that shows the location of each bridge that's in the database. And Google My Maps is going to do that by focusing on these two columns here, the latitude column and the longitude column. You probably know that latitude and longitude are map coordinates, and if you have the latitude and longitude of some point, then you can plot that point, and that's what Google My Maps is going to do. So practically, you'll need to open up your Google Drive. I'm going to do that here. Just go to my drive. There we are. And let's see, the first step is going to be to create a blank Google Sheet that you can paste the data that I've given you into. So let's click New and a Google Sheet right here. So we just have a blank sheet. And then switch back to the data that I provided and just copy it. Just drag, highlight everything, Control C or Command C to copy. Switch back to your blank Google Sheet and Control V or Command V to paste. There we go. So now we've got the data in a Google Sheet. And this is important. Give it a name that you'll be able to pick out here in just a minute. Let's call this Bridge Data for Map. Okay, could be any name. It just needs to be a name that you can find easily. So there we go, Bridge Data for Map. And the next step is to create a blank Google My Map and import this data onto the map using the latitude and the longitude columns to place each map marker. So let's have a look at that process. Again, just go to your Google Drive homepage, click New, and you'll need to hit More down here, and then Google My Maps. So we get a blank map. And then in this first untitled layer, click the import link right here because we're going to import that data onto the map. Now you can see that you could upload data from your computer if your computer happened to be where the data were. But in this case, it's in Google Drive. So let's go to the Google Drive tab. And you could search for it if you can't find it. But because we just created the file, it happens to be right here. It's the first one on the left. So click that. See, there's a name we gave it, Bridge Data for Map. Click that and choose Select. And the first thing that Google My Maps is going to ask you is, well, which columns contain the latitude and longitude coordinates that I need to be able to use to put the markers on the map? Well, because back in the data set, we named the latitude column latitude and the longitude column longitude, Google My Maps was able to figure it out, and it guessed correctly. And all you need to do really is scroll down through here and make sure nothing else is checked that would maybe get Google My Maps confused. If for any reason these weren't checked, if they were named something else and it wasn't terribly obvious, all you would have to do would be to pick the latitude column, just check it, and then tell Google Sheets, well, that's the latitude column. And then go find wherever the longitude values are and say, okay, that's the longitude values, and then click Continue. Okay, the next thing it's going to ask you is which of these columns is going to end up being the title of the little detail windows that pop up when people use the mask. You can change this later. For now, let's just go with feature spanned. That'll tell you, like, this is a bridge over the CSX railroad tracks, or this is a bridge over the West Fork of the Stones River, or something like that. Again, you can adjust this later, but just click Finish, and what you'll get eventually is a map with a one of these sort of blue balloon type markers showing the location of each bridge. And you can see that if you click on one of these, like this is that Church Street Bridge we looked at in the last video, you get all this information about that particular bridge. That's all the information that came in with the bridge. Let's see, where's the, yeah, I don't know which one that is actually. I think it's probably this one here. But all this information came in along with the data when we imported it. Okay, so that's how to just get the markers on the map. Next, we'll look at importing the other layer. Whoops, sorry. This outline here for Rutherford County. We'll get that on the map. I'll show you how to do that, and then we'll go back and start styling things like differentiating between bridges and culverts, and changing the color and shape of the bridge markers and all that sort of thing. So that's all coming up in the next video.